Now, Tehran has ordered a retaliatory strike on Israel following the death of the Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. That's according to Iranian officials.
Well, Hamas's top political leader was killed during an airstrike in Iran's capital, and the group have publicly blamed Israel for the attack. Well, Benjamin Netanyahu's government are yet to comment on the incident.
All this comes as today marks 300 days since Hamas attacked Israel on October the 7th, and of course tensions are still extremely high.
Well, to discuss this further, we are joined by defence editor at the Evening Standard, Robert Fox, who can make sense of all of this for us. Good morning to you, Robert. And we've been talking, haven't we, in the past few days about this targeted assassination campaign. It does seem as though we're looking at tit-for-tat strikes right now, and things could escalate very quickly. Yeah,
tit-for-tat, almost a commendable understatement, because I think that you've rightly flagged what the Supreme Leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, has been saying. And I don't think it's just going to be a one strike, because what the best Israeli analysts are saying, Anthony Horowitz of the Times of Israel, for example, is that they expect that it will be coordinated, because Iran is out for revenge, as they see it, not only for the Hamas leader Haniyeh being killed in Tehran, but also the Hezbollah leader, a client, a patron, a protege, an ally, being killed in Beirut, Fouad Shakra. And today, to mark where we're going, it is believed that the Supreme Leader himself, which is unusual, is going to speak at the funeral of Haniyeh, which is going to be in Tehran, which is a bit bizarre because he's a Palestinian. They're not quite of the same sect, and his normal residence is in Qatar. Equally, the leader of Hezbollah, who doesn't go public so often, is going to make a major policy speech about Fouad Shukra in Beirut. What am I saying? We're looking at a ramping up on at least two fronts. But the latest calculation is that Israel faces war on 5 fronts at the moment.
This was all expected, though. I mean, these were named targets by Israel. Everybody knew they were after them.
It is very strange, isn't it, that Haniyeh, who had been the key man in the negotiations, by the way, both for a ceasefire and a release of the hostages following October the 7th, goes blatantly and publicly to the swearing-in of the new Iranian president. He didn't need to do that, but it was showing solidarity. And all the clients of Iran in the fight against Israel are lined up at this swearing-in ceremony, and they knew exactly where he was. And that's what's absolutely clear, is Israeli surveillance, signals intelligence, mobile phones, encrypted messaging. They can get into it, and they can get into it almost as nobody else can.
What do these assassinations mean for Hamas and Hezbollah?
There's a very gloomy piece, again, by my friend Anthony Horowitz, and in the other mainstream English language Israel paper, Haaretz, saying they've got loads more to replace them. Hamas is really hard. It's a hard nut. It's very, very well organised. And actually, more than Haniyeh, the person they really wanted to get, and I'm sorry to put it in such crude terms because those are the terms they put it in, was Yahya Sinwar, who probably was the mastermind behind the attack, but he's certainly the mastermind against this continuing round and round fighting that is going on in Gaza.
Where does this leave the international community? Where does it leave America and the UK?
Well, they're both very important. And by the way, we shouldn't underestimate the role of the UK, that Lord Cameron, when he was foreign minister, was very welcome. And it was very important because he knew people. And there's no doubt the US laid off a lot. He was working very closely with Anthony Blinken. They're exhausted because the old tools of diplomacy aren't really working, because it's exactly what we're seeing with Russia over Ukraine, to a wider extent with China. I'm sorry, this is why globally it's looking pretty awful. They're not following the old rule book. They go and denounce and do, this is absolutely awful, in the UN. But to take any positive peace brokering and then peacemaking and peacekeeping initiative, you know that the supreme authority of the UN is going to be cancelled out. You've got 5 permanent members, each with a veto, and if one lot vote one way, the other will vote the other. It's looking very, very sticky indeed, and there are bits of it that people are really worried could get out of control. Namely, I was talking about the five fronts. The thing that's expanded in quality and intensity is the Houthi attack on global shipping. And so it's hold your breath. But for Europe, UK, France, Germany even, this is not one we can afford to sit out. We're too committed. Britain is still a major civil maritime power. If you look by the earnings that we have from insurance and so on is so important. We are involved. Historically, we are involved. And in a funny way, as part of the debate, it's funny, peculiar, I mean. A lot of our people, a lot of our academic authorities here are trusted.
OK, Robert, good to see you this morning. Thanks very much indeed.
Yeah, we're going to watch that situation very, very closely indeed.
Thank you ever to people like Robert who actually make it understandable and trying to get our heads around what is an incredibly complex situation.
Yeah, and developing very, very quickly as well. Thank you, Robert.